Generally speaking, in all of these cities and towns, kids grow up a lot rougher than the kids on the coast. Some would call it white trash, others would call it hick, but I like to stay away from these terms. And just like Compton or Watts, many of these teenagers turn to the street life and ultimately end up in California's prison system. And here is where the story begins. It's 1964 in San Quentin, California's most legendary prison. And this is the first year where all ethnicities will hit the yard at the same time. Previous to 1964, you pretty much had separate institutions operating in the same facility. But now that it was integrated, many people were nervous about what could go down. But according to many reports, things went pretty smoothly for the first few years. But then came 1967, where one man changed the entire dynamic. This would be George Jackson, a man I covered in a previous episode. George had been in San Quentin since 1961, way past his deserved sentence. Well, at a certain point, George realized that the system was not fair for people of his background. And coincidentally, at this same time, the Black Panthers were marching for their freedom in the streets of Oakland, not too far away. Well, after reading the newspaper and hearing about the Black Panthers, George Jackson got inspired. He wanted to create his own similar movement just inside of San Quentin. So in 1967, George met up with W.L. Nolan, another inmate with the same mentality. Together, the two started the Black Guerrilla Family, also known as BGF. Within just 2 weeks, BGF membership grew to the hundreds, and that's when they decided to make a statement on the yard. On January 16, 1967, 4 BGF members claimed the life of Robert Holderman, an inmate from Yuba City, California. This was the very first incident of this nature, and it infuriated everyone. The next day, on January 17th, the largest riot in San Quentin history broke out on the yard. 1,800 BGF associates versus 1,000 white inmates. Thankfully, after nearly an hour, the guards were able to break it up. But now the tensions were higher than ever and there was no end in sight. Not only did BGF have the size advantage, but they were also organized, unlike their opposition. So in order to solve this problem, all of the men got together and started a crew. They decided on calling themselves the Aryan Brotherhood, also known as AB. Aryan represents an ancient European society, and Brotherhood represents that they'll always stick together. They decided that membership was not a walk in the park. In fact, becoming a member was irreversible. Their first rule was blood in, blood out, meaning that once you joined, you could never go back. The second rule was to never cooperate with police and to never act cowardly. Essentially, this meant that ratting or not following your commands would instantly make you an enemy of the Brotherhood. And lastly, before officially becoming a member, you had to take this pledge. For the Aryan Brotherhood, everything is about rank and earning stripes. The more acts you commit, the higher you climb, ultimately resulting in leadership positions. The highest rank is known as the Commission, which is reserved for the 3 baddest members. And in order to make this rank, you have to do some wild things. Well, the BGF versus AB rivalry sparked off in San Quentin with multiple acts going back and forth. Eventually, something had to be done, so the warden decided to ship off members from both sides to facilities across the state. The plan may have slowed things down in San Quentin, but it started problems all over the state. Both sides decided to use this to recruit new members and to fight battles in multiple locations. But here's where the two sides were different. Unlike BGF, where membership was voluntary, the Brotherhood didn't really give you a choice. Because BGF had a larger pool to draw from, the AB knew that they had to go harder in recruiting to match their size. So anytime a new white inmate came to a facility, the AB told them to either join or to be thrown in no man's land. If you didn't join the Brotherhood, you were told that you'd have no protection against BGF, La M or NF. So as a result, 9 out of 10 inmates were compelled to join up.